Welcome to Trading Lounge and the global indices, and starting with the S&P here. We've had Salesforce, CRM and Dell have poor earnings, which has placed a bit of pressure on the tech stock sector generally speaking. And of course we've had Trump's situation as well just come out. So there's a bit of downward pressure there, but I'm going to still stay on track with our current wave count. And I thought I'd have a look at the bigger picture here just for a moment. So, you know, I think, when you look at this particular move from this move to the upside here, if you've got a bit of understanding about Elliott, then you can see that there's always a beginning, a middle, and an end cycle, well, to most things really, but also a trend as well. And there's, say a dozen different degrees of trends in Elliott, and they can all have their beginning, middle, and end. But the beginning normally starts with 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and then you've got the third wave here, which is normally in stocks the sort of longest, and then you have the end of the trend, all the fours and fives to the end. So we don't have that ending pattern in this particular process. We have the 5,000 here, which is, to me, 5 is the second strongest number in the market, and I don't think that this market is actually finished with it, but as you can see, the way that I've sort of drawn this out here, don't pay any attention to these tops here. They're just very sort of rough sort of estimates on things. But in a nutshell, from wave 4 to wave 5 here, we're looking at a five wave structure. So we want to go in and have a look at that from the daily, from the weekly to the daily here, and picking it up at this wave 4 here and going up. So we're going up to this wave 5 of 3 here. So we're looking from wave 3, 4, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if I've made a mistake, then the mistake would be that wave 5 would come down on the top here for this. That's a possibility, but that's not what I'm seeing from stocks. So, and for the meantime, I'll leave that over here, but just be aware that that's a possibility, and we would work through that process when we're working through this process of wave 2 here. In the meantime, we've been counting up here, and as I just said, in the bigger picture, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end to a trend. And here you can see the 1 and 2 or 1s and 2s in here, and then the big strong third wave in this degree of structure. So this is a fourth wave here, and well, in a fourth wave, the market pulls back, the Fibonacci thingy bobby at 38.2. So the 38.2 comes in, quite close to the 5200 area there. So basically where we are now, really, And it's also deep into demand as well. So when you look at this old high here, then it's coming back into that, because a lot of the time when a market's moving along, I always find it's always a game of support and resistance. So when a market moves up again, it's coming back and checking. Now it may just come back to the top, it may go in a bit and all those sort of things, but it's checking to find out where those buyers are at that point before moving up. So this coming back here, getting through this old high here, it's doing all the right things here. And across this level here, I'll be looking for a classic trading levels pattern. So we've got that, and now we're sort of, got this here. So, so we want this level here, the 5,300 as support. But anyway, that's a little way off yet. So the wave 4 at 38.2% is pretty on point here at the moment. So let's go in and have a look at that. I think we go to the intraday at 1,000. And this is the pattern here. So we've been working through it for a little while. And wave 4s are always tricky, and just need a little bit of patience. So basically, we've got the A wave, the B wave, and now we've got the C wave here. And I've counted this C wave a little bit oddly, but we'll have a look at it on the SPY as well. But one of the things that I wanted to point out here that I find interesting is that the first move down here counts quite nicely as 3 waves, as you can see here. Now, because it's come down in 3 waves, it means that it's bullish corrective. So this whole pattern it's telling me that this whole pattern is bullish. So it's just another way to confirm that we're in a corrective pattern. Now, if this was in 5 waves, then this would be an issue. This could be an issue. That wouldn't be, doesn't have to be, but the A wave can be in 5 waves or 3 waves. So yeah, if it's in 3 waves, it's handy. That's all. Yeah, so the B wave here, and then counting down this as 1 and 2 here with a nice sharp move back for wave 2, and then looking at this as wave 3 here and 4 here, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Now that's counted a little bit weird. In most cases we're putting wave 3 and 4 down here, and that should be the case there. I think that we've pretty much got the low in place. Now just look, eyeballing this here, it looks like we've got 1 2, then 1 2 3 4 5 here. So I think that there can be a another little move down here. This could be 1 and 2 here, just guessing really, so 3 4 5 here. So it could be something like that before it goes back up. So what I wanted to say is the trade setup that we're looking for, we could use this number here, the 5 here. So that means looking for a classic trading levels pattern here, the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, some sort of little ABC pattern here, and then up again. So all we're really looking for is we're looking for the first high above the level. If you can see a second one, well, terrific. Then move in on it that way, okay? Don't need to buy at the bottom. Here we need some sort of confirmation that that's going to be the case. So I want to have a look at the SPY with the same pattern, the SPY here. So in this case, we can look at it as the A wave here. Once again, another nice 3 waves, the B wave over here, and then 1 and 2, and then all the way down for 3 and 4 here, and down for 5, with the third wave being 1 2 3 4 5. It's actually quite a beautiful count, really. You know, it's something that you could put in a book. So once again here, I do think that there's probably one more little low to come in here, not a big deal, something like that, you know, and then move up from that point. So let's see how that goes. Yeah, and that's the, you know, that's the SPY. So let's have a look at the at the Nasdaq. So this is the Nasdaq here. I won't go into the bigger picture. We'll just sort of stay within this particular space for the moment. Wave 3 here with an ABC for the A wave, the B wave, and we've got wave 1 here and wave 2 over to here. And then from 2 down to 3 here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, third, fourth, and fifth, and coming down for wave 5 in here for this. I could rearrange this here because there's a little bit in here that I could get another wave structure out, which would shift things along a little bit. Like I could put wave 3 here and then wave 4 and then wave 5 to come down here. I could do that as well. Based on some little price action in this particular structure, but because of what the S&P is doing and this thing, I'll stay with that. I'll also just have a look at this particular pattern here. We'll just have a look at this in a bit more detail because this is on 20,000 ticks and the next one will be on 50 ticks, so you know, quite a lot smaller really. So this is it here, just drilling in here with the wave 3 here, the A wave, the B wave, 1 and 2 here, and 1 and 2 and 3 4 5 for the third, the fourth, and just drilling down here. I was thinking that we can look at this as 1 2 3 ABC for 4 and down for 5 for 1 and 2 here, then 1 2 3 4 5 for the third wave. Wave 4 is a bit sharp, it's a bit unusual, but bounce off number 5 here, and I don't really worry about the, you know, if the, I mean 8 is the third strongest number and 5 is the second strongest number, but all of these are 18. Do you know what I mean? So they doesn't really mean much. It's more about the 500. That's what the day traders would be focused on in terms of psychology. So it looks like we need to come down here a little bit further as 1 and 2 or something, and 3 4 5 here. So I'm thinking here this becomes a little bit interesting here, because let's just assume for a moment we get some sort of little move down here. Well, then we can use the 5 to go long on. So if it's going to get back up here, it has to prove to you that it is strong. So it'll need that, you know, it'll need to have that first high above the level, and if you're fortunate, you can look for the second high here. And it's good doing it this way because the market's proving to you it's strong at that point, and that's what you want. You want proof. You want evidence of strength, and this is a nice way to do it, all wrapped up around a number. And also, you should be looking at this type of pattern here. This pattern or this pattern will be the case. There's only really three basic patterns that occur at levels, and yeah. And this particular, as it moves through here, this will also show a bearish pattern as well. Not this pattern here, beg your pardon, but this pattern here. So this is what it's going to basically do here to get below the level. So it's going to come through and test it back, but it's going to find support, should find support. Now, the other thing too is if Friday closes strong, then Monday's going to follow through on that. If I've got this totally wrong, and shit, we're all wrong at times. All we're looking for is a trade setup that's we can manage the risk for. But whatever happens on Friday tends to happen on the Monday. So just keep that in mind, because that's always helpful if you're holding positions or not holding positions. This is the triple Q, the same as well, but even a nice account from wave 3 here with the A, the B, the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5 here. And I can see it's just sort of this price, just a little dot here. I don't know if you can see it, just sort of falling out of bed there on some sort of opening. But as I said, I think we've got one more little move to come down here for that. So they're all pretty much the same. The Russell here, I'm wondering if wave 4 is already in place here. I'm not quite sure. I don't want to suggest a trade here just yet, but it is interesting that we're getting some sort of support here. We had this the other day as the A, the B, and the C here. Could get an impulse wave out of this, but maybe in this case we could use the 2. 1 is the strongest number, that 10, so that's the strongest number there. So we could use 5. So the Fibonacci numbers 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8 in here. But you can see this 5 here has got some credibility. So once again, a classic trading levels pattern on that would get you to the upside. But we are looking for another pullback once we get that first little high up here as well. So this is still a bit tricky. I don't think trading some of these weaker markets to the upside is the best bet, okay? Yeah, so what have we got here? The DAX. Okay, so I won't go into the bigger picture here, but basically the same thing here. Wave 3 here with an A wave here, an A wave here, and a B wave here. And we could look at this as an A wave here, and then an A and a B and a C wave here. So, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a little kind of complicated in here, but it works quite well with ABCs. And so the A wave, the B wave, and then we'd been counting down here as 1 and 2. I wasn't quite sure. I'd need to double check that, but it doesn't really matter. 3, 4, 5 here. I can count a little 5 waves up here, but it's not that sort of healthy at this stage. Stochastics is down, so we should see a push up. But this at the 18.5 here, this is giving a bit of a pattern here. So when we look at this little pattern here, for example, we've got where it's moved up and reacted from there, and then made a bit of an effort to make a high above the level, hasn't it? And then it's dropped back. So basically it's done this here. So it's moved up, dropped back, moved up. We've got that first high here. We haven't found a second high yet or whatever, but it's moved back below the level, and it's down here somewhere. And we can see the stochastics wanting to say, well, we should be going up at that point. So the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, stochastic sort of looking good there, I guess. And yeah, so it doesn't really matter. It's not like, if this market could drop back down here. I don't know. But if it moved up through there, well, then I feel like we've done all the right things at the right time. This is the setup that we're looking for. I could look at this here in terms of, wave 1 and 2 here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then put wave 4 over here, and then have another low into the 300 here, and then we have to rinse and repeat again here, push to the upside. So not quite sure, but all I can say is we can take a position, a smallish position above this particular top here for this market. Okay, now the platform resetting again. That's weird. I thought it does it later. I must be running late. Now the FTSE, I'm just a little bit unsure. I've got a situation where I can put this wave 3 up here, or this wave 3. I don't know, and I really don't know how this is going to sort of play out here as well. I mean, if I was going to put this 3 up here, I can put this to here, and this to here, and a wave 4 into here, and then this wave 3 up to here, and then this wave 4 over to here. I've sort of been through this, in many different ways and so on. As I always say, that if this is the trading level stuff, the 8 here, major trading level, then 1, 2, and 3 here. If the number 2 here is 8,200, but I'll just say 1, 2, and 3. If the number 2 in a bear market, if the number 2 here becomes the retested resistance, then it's going to be pulled back down to this number here. So this number is a bit of a do or die. Normally it does spike down to 1.5, I always say, but it's obviously gone a bit lower, but that's okay. So we've got to kind of see if this is going to be, make some headway here. I also I'm finding it a little bit difficult to count this little area in here. I can see that it can be counted in different ways. So all I'm really going off, I think to myself, well, the S&P 500 is got a low in place. That means the DAX should be following the S&P, and this market should be following the DAX. So it's quite possible that we've got the low in place here. But I also don't have a nice 5 waves up here. Yes, it has rallied, but I don't see 5 waves. I can see 3 waves. If it pushed up a little bit further, then that would be good at that point, because then it would come back and do its thing and then push up again. But I think the trade itself is on this number here. This is the top of group 1, and it's more significant and more important. So this is where the trade would come from, on top of this number, more so than this number here. But I'll leave that to you, if everybody's got their own skill set. So support on group 1 here, what it does is separates the market being pulled by orders to this number, right? So that's that. So I don't have a good clear count on this here. I don't want to confuse you and show you a count, because I can just see different ways that it can be counted. So if the other markets are going to move up, then this is going to move up, okay? And it's a little bit the same for the Australian market here. We've been looking at this wave 4 here can be also a wave 2 as well, but the situation at the moment really is looking at this wonky old wave 1 to the upside of 1 here, and ABC for 2, and then up for 3, 4, 5 here for 1. And then we've been working through the A wave, the B wave, and C wave. And yesterday we were looking for a low to come in here at the roughly the 78.6 area. So yeah, it does appear that we've got some sort of turn here. It does appear to be impulsive. So what we can do is just drift over to the closest largest number, and that would be the 7 here. So I think that if this area became the support, then you could look to go long at that point. So what we're looking for here is just some first high above the level. That's all. Just something like that to get the setup to go long at that point. Now there may be a second high here, and if Friday's going to close strong, then Monday's going to follow through. So that's what we're kind of banking on. I know it's always a little bit scary to buy in a bear market. I always find that myself. And we've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So this could be a third wave here, right? So if it was going to be a third wave, that means that this would be a fourth wave here. So if we took this here and this here, then we could say to ourselves, well, the fourth wave pulls back 38.2%, which is here. So we're above that. The 50% is okay as well. We could count that up as an A and a B and a C wave to that point and come crashing down. That's all doable as well. But if it found support on top of the 700 here, then we could negate the 38.2% wave 4 business at that point. Okay, so that's why we're waiting for this to get rid of any possibility that this could be a wave 4 at that point. The other point here too is that if this does move up here and goes up to here somewhere, then it's overlapping this here, which would be a wave 1 at that point, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5. So getting the first high above the level is kind of going to be touching into that space there as well. So there's a few sort of simplistic reasons to view this like this and approach it in this particular manner. Alrighty, I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the weekend. Cheers.